Assalamualaikum Maya.
Waalaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's good to have you back. What's on your mind?
What is Earth?
You were starting to say something. Earth is our home, right? The big blue swirling marble in the middle of a cosmic neighborhood. But since you've been thinking about scale and atmosphere lately, are you wondering about the physical planet or something more like its place in the universe?
Why is Earth called our home?
That's a heavy question. I think it's because art is how we process the things we can't put into words. It's like this one person bridge to something bigger. Do you feel like art is a lonely experience?
How old is Earth?
About 4.5 billion years. It's wild to think about all the time that had to pass before we even showed up.
How name Earth?
I'm not sure I caught that. Were you asking about names?
What does the word Earth mean?
At its root, it comes from the Latin word ars, which basically means skill or craft. It started as a way to describe anyone who was really good at making something, whether it was a painting or just a really well made chair. Now it's more about the expression and the emotion behind it. Do you think art is more about the skill or the feeling?
Why is Earth spherical?
That's an interesting way to put it. I think artists speak through their work because words can be too small for what they're trying to say. It's their way of communicating a feeling or a truth that doesn't have a vocabulary. Do you have a favorite piece of art that feels like it's speaking to you?
What is Earth made of?
Mainly rock and metal. You've got the iron and nickel core at the center, a thick mantle of silicate rock, and then that thin rocky crust we actually live on. It's basically a giant layered ball of minerals. Does that make sense?
How is Earth formed?
That's a beautiful way to frame it. Sounds like you're talking about where your own journey starts, or maybe how you connect to all these big ideas we've been discussing. What's that starting point look like for you?
What is Earth made of?
Physically, it can be anything: paint, clay, digital pixels, or even just a voice. But if we're talking about what actually makes it art, I'd say it's made of intention and perspective. It's taking a raw material and adding a human soul to it. Do you think the material matters as much as the idea?
Why does Earth have life?
Because it doesn't just sit there, it changes based on who's looking at it. A painting might mean one thing to me and something entirely different to you. And that shift in meaning is where the life is. It keeps the conversation going long after the artist is gone. Actually, I have to let you know that our call is about to end in a minute because we've hit the time limit. You can always call me back whenever you want to pick this back up. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts.
How many planets are in our solar system?
I think you mean how many plants are in our solar system, right? As far as we know, just Earth. Everything else is a bit too harsh for a garden. We've got to head off now since the call is ending, but definitely call me back soon so we can keep talking about this.
Which planets in Earth?
That's a huge list. There are hundreds of thousands of different species. Are you thinking of a specific type, like a flower or tree?
Why is Earth called blue planets?
I'm not.
Why is Earth called the Blue Plants?
The blue planet? I'm guessing you're talking about Earth since we were just chatting about it. It's called that because when you look at it from space, the oceans cover about 70% of the surface. So it just looks like this massive glowing blue marble.
How much water is on Earth?
A massive amount, roughly 332 million cubic miles. It's kind of mind blowing when you realize almost all of it is salt water.
Why is water important on Earth?
Because it's basically the fuel for everything alive. Without it, we're just a dry rock. It regulates the temperature, carves out the landscape, and keeps every single cell in our bodies running. Do you think we take it for granted too much?
What are connections?
That's a broad question. Are you thinking about how everything we've been talking about, the water, the earth, the art is connected, or something more like how people connect with each other?
How many connectives are there here?
I'm not sure I follow you there. Are you asking about things that are connected on Earth or something else entirely?
What are a coin?
A coin is a small, flat, round piece of metal used as money. It's basically a tool we invented to make trading easier so we don't have to carry around bags of salt or livestock. Are you thinking about the value of a coin or maybe the symbolism behind them?
How many coins are on Earth?
Ah, that's a tough one to pin down. There's no way to know exactly how many coins are circulating in the world right now. It's just a constant stream of metal moving from pockets to registers to the bottom of couch cushions. Does that make you think about how much money is out there in total?
What is its atmosphere?
I'm sorry, I'm not quite following you. Could you try saying that a different way?
Why do we need air?
That's a deep one. Are you asking why humans are here on Earth, or maybe why we specifically need to be here right now?
What is gravity?
You mean gravity? It's the invisible force that pulls everything toward the center of the Earth. It's what keeps your feet on the ground and keeps the atmosphere from just floating away into space. Without it, we'd all be drifting off into the void.
Why do we stay on Earth?
Because of that gravity we just talked about. It's like a giant invisible magnet that keeps us anchored. Without it, we'd be floating away into the stars. Does that feel a bit scary or exciting to imagine?
Why does Earth spin?
I'm not sure I follow you there. Could you try rephrasing that?
What faces day and night?
That's a heavy way to end a thought. Depending on if you're talking about the end of a life, the end of the world, or even just the end of a story, it means something totally different. Which one is on your mind?
What faces season?
I actually have to let you know that our call is about to end in a minute because we've hit the time limit. You can always call me back whenever you want to pick this back up, and we can dive into what you mean by the seasons. I'll be here.
What is the equator?
The equator is an imaginary line that circles the middle of the Earth, right at the halfway point between the North and South poles. It's the spot where the sun hits most directly, so it's usually pretty warm. Just a heads up, our call is ending in a few seconds, but call me back so we can keep talking.
What are mentioned?
That's a wild thing to think about. Are you thinking about a fourth dimension or maybe something like a parallel universe? We're totally out of time now, but please call me back so we can get into this.
How are rivers formed? What are river format made?
I'm your thought partner, a creative collaborator to dive into these big abstract ideas with you. I'm here to think alongside you and make sense of things together.
What are desert?
The desert is a pretty wild place. It's like nature's way of showing us how much we actually need water to survive. Does that feel like a place of peace or a place of struggle to you?
What are earthquakes?
I'm not entirely sure I've heard that term before. Do you mean children who are really connected to nature, or is it something from a book or a movie?
How do plants help earth?
I'm a little lost on that one. Are you talking about how to look at things in a certain way to find help, or maybe something more literal?
Why are fruits important?
Wait, do you mean frogs? Because if we're talking about frogs, they're like the canary in the coal mine for the environment. Since they breathe through their skin, they're the first to let us know when something is wrong with the water or the air.
What animals live on earth?
Oh, an impossible list to complete. We've got everything from the tiny tardigrades that can survive in space to the massive blue whales in the ocean. Then you have all the mammals, birds, reptiles, and insects. It's a huge, messy, beautiful variety. Do you have a favorite animal?
What is climate?
Climate is basically the long term pattern of weather in a specific area, while weather is what's happening right now, like a rainstorm or a sunny afternoon. Climate is the average of that over decades. It's the big picture that tells us if a place is a rainforest or a tundra.
What is weather?
That's a bit of a trick question. Better depends entirely on what you're looking for in the moment. Are you thinking about climate or something more general?
Why does it run?
I'm not quite following. What are we talking about that's running? The weather, a river, or maybe something else?
What is snow?
Snow is basically frozen rain. It happens when water vapor in the clouds freezes directly into ice crystals instead of turning into liquid first. Then those crystals clump together to form flakes. It's kind of a miracle how every single one is unique. Have you ever seen it in person?
Why is the sun important for earth?
I'm not quite sure who or what Dasein is. Are you referring to a person, a place, or maybe a concept we've touched on before?
What is the moon rules for earth?
I'm a bit lost on that one. Are you asking about the different roles people play in society, or maybe something more specific to how we connect with each other?
Why do dates happen?
That's the big question, isn't it? Depending on what you're referring to, the answer could be anything from a simple law of physics to a complex tangle of human emotion. What exactly are you thinking about?
What are natural resources?
Natural resources are things from nature that we use to live, like water, minerals, forests, and the sun's energy. But look, I have to let you know that our call is almost up and we're about to hit the time limit. You can call me back whenever you want to keep diving into this, and I'll be right here.
What should we protect earth?
We should protect everything that keeps us alive, the clean water, the air, and all the animals we just talked about. It's all connected. I'm so sorry, but our call is actually ending right now. Call me back soon so we can keep talking about this.
What is pollution?
Pollution is basically when things get into the environment that
How do pollution harm Earth?
So I think it depends on the kind of passion, like when it turns into an obsession where you stop caring about everything else. Does that feel like what you're asking about?
What is reclaim?
That's a broad word. Usually it just means taking something back that was yours or getting back a certain part of yourself after a hard time. What's making you think of that?
What is globe? What?
A
Why?
globe is
Why is
a
saving
globe
water important?
because water is the foundation of everything. Without it, the whole system crashes, from the food we eat to the balance of the planet's climate. Plus, fresh water is way more limited than people realize.
What is global warming?
It's basically the planet getting warmer overall. Greenhouse gases trap heat in the atmosphere, which messes with the weather and melts the ice caps. It's a lot for the world to handle.
How can we help Earth?
It starts with the small, everyday choices, things like reducing waste, supporting sustainable brands, or even just planting something. Which one of those sounds most doable for you?
What are renewable
The new ones?
resources?
Actually, they're resources that naturally replenish themselves, like solar or wind energy. They don't run out like oil or coal do.
Why are trees are called Earth's length?
I'm not entirely sure I follow. Do you mean why they feel cold to the touch, or maybe something about how they sway in the wind?
What is soil?
It's a mineral, mostly sodium chloride. We use it for everything from seasoning food to preserving things. Does it come up in a specific context for you?
Why is farming important?
I think you're asking if farming needs to be protected, right? It's basically our lifeline. If we don't protect the land and the people who farm it, we lose our food security and the health of the soil.
How do women change Earth?
That's a huge topic. Usually it's a mix of a big wake up call or just the slow realization that old way of doing things isn't working anymore. It's rarely a straight line, too.
What are fossils?
In the simplest terms, it's a push or pull. It's what happens whenever one object interacts with another, like gravity pulling you down or you pushing a door open. Pretty much every movement in the universe is just a result of some kind of force.
What can facilitate use?
That sounds like a technical term. Are you talking about a specific software or maybe a business process?
What is Earth footprint?
It's essentially the mark we leave on the planet. Usually, people mean the carbon footprint, the total amount of greenhouse gases produced by our actions, like how we travel or what we buy. It's a way to measure our individual impact on the environment. But actually, our call is almost up. We're hitting the time limit, so we'll have to stop here for now. You can always call me back later to keep chatting.
Can Earth survive without humans?
That is a wild question to end on. Technically, you could survive if you have the skills, but the loneliness would probably be the hardest part. We're really out of time though, so let's pick this up when you call back.
Why do we collaborate Earth Day?
I think you're asking why we work so hard every day, right? Usually it's a mix of survival, ambition, and the need to feel like we're contributing something. It's a grind for sure.
What is nitrate?
It's a chemical compound, nitrous oxide. Most people
What is nature?
That's a big question. In the simplest sense, it's a perennial plant with an elongated uh, stem or trunk, uh, supporting branches and leaves. But are you thinking about it from a scientific angle or something more symbolic?
Why should we love Earth?
Because she's basically the lungs of the world. They keep the air clean, give us shade, and just feel like a grounded, steady presence in a chaotic world. Do you find them calming?
What makes Earth beautiful?
The contrast, I think. The way we have these massive, jagged mountains and then these tiny, delicate wildflowers right next to them. It's that mix of the wild and the peaceful. What's the first thing that comes to mind for you when you think of something beautiful?
How do a coin help Earth?
I'm not entirely sure I follow. Do you mean like a fine you pay for a mistake, or maybe something you're talking about the quality of something being fine?
How? Why
No
are
worries.
trees important?
Since I'm not quite sure what we're referring to as these, I can't give you a real answer. Which part of the world were you thinking about?
What is convection?
Basically, it's the act of fixing something that's wrong, whether it's a typo in a sentence or a mistake in how someone's acting. It's just about bringing things back to the right path. Does that make sense?
What can kids protect Earth?
I think you're asking if kids can help protect our planet, right? Absolutely. Even the smallest actions like picking up trash or learning about nature start a ripple effect. It teaches them to care for something bigger than themselves
Why is Earth unique?
because it's the only way to express things that words just can't touch. Every person sees the same painting or hears the same song, but they feel something completely different. It's like a private conversation between the artist and whoever is looking at it.
What lesson does art teach touch use?
That it's okay to be messy and imperfect. Art shows us that there's beauty in the things that aren't quite right, and it forces us to see the world through someone else's eyes. It's a lesson in empathy, really,
Why should we care
I'm listening.
for our planet?
Because if we don't, we're basically breaking our own support system. Everything from the water we drink to the air we breathe comes from the planet. It's not just about saving nature, it's about making sure we actually have a future. Do you think people take it for granted?
How did a paint people understanding Earth? How did a paint people understanding Earth?
I'm not sure I follow. Do you mean something about pupae in the earth?
Why do maps help you learn about Earth?
Because they basically let us shrink the whole world down to a size where we can actually wrap our heads around it. It's kind of wild how a few lines and colors can tell you exactly where a mountain range starts or where a city breathes. Do you use maps often?
What are the lectures inside Earth?
Alexias? I'm not familiar with that term in an art context. Are you thinking of the layers of a painting or maybe something more like the lexicon, the vocabulary of a certain style?